It says check your encoder settings, keyframe and visual 8.33, recommend 2. Thing's showing we're live.
Yep, we are. We are live. We're back. We're back.
I don't even
Technical
see it.
difficulties, as they say.
Yeah, let me go back to my
As they
page.
say, we are back. Little technical difficulties, kids. That's the beauty of what they call the intertwines of the internet.
Okay, yeah, now we're back. All right, cool. All right,
Back.
sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but we had some technical difficulties. So I took care of our break. We had a long break there. Yeah, so we won't go to break. We'll just go right into our thing after we finish this one up. Where we're talking about FIU. I don't know how long the stream could have been down for a while. We talked about USC. I'll recap real quick here what we got
Mhm.
on the totem board. Catch up, people. I don't know. I think let's do a quick rundown. We both picked Navy over Notre Dame. We
Yep.
both picked Jacksonville State over UTEP. New Mexico over UMass. You picked San Diego State. I picked Ohio. We both picked Vanderbilt. We both picked USC. Now we're on the Florida International game. We were talking about it when we found that interrupted the thing here. So we're going to talk. We're not going to talk a great deal of it. We're just going to go run down the quick things. If you're betting on this ball game, we'll go down to the betting here. The over and under is 59.5. Louisiana Tech is favored by 11.5. They predict the final score to be 38-27. Louisiana Tech.
38-27.
Yeah, 38-27.
Okay.
Their confidence is 2, and their rating must see is 2.5 out of 5. So pretty much there. Louisiana Tech, both defenses not that very good in 2022. The new standard here, the Louisiana defensive back should be an early strength for them. FIU, the Panthers offense will keep on pushing the ball around, but it might not have the bit of all consistent last season. It has a nasty time of scoring when it has a chance, but the offensive coordinator, Dave Yost, should keep the pressure on the downfield side of the ball. Louisiana Tech, to prove it, has a pass rush last year, but it was among the worst teams in the nation of generating pressure. The defense as a whole was a disaster. 42-34 FIU victory. It wasn't an arbitration. It could have slowed down much of anything. So they were a disaster last year. This game came down to a 8-point victory. So what is your take, man? Get your quick take, and then we'll pick it.
I tell you what, right before we had a lot of technical difficulties, I think we were talking about the offensive output, what FIU is known to do at that slot receiver position and special teams. I'm going to stick with it. I like the speed of this team. They've always shown somebody that can go to the next level, meaning the NFL in the second round that got some really, really good speed and turns out to be a pretty important role player. So I'm going to roll with FIU on this so we can keep this thing rolling.
All righty, you got that Florida team. I'm in the state of Florida, but I'm going with the Bayou team. I'm going with Louisiana Tech.
Down to folks down there in Ruston. What up, good folk? How y'all doing?
All right, let me go ahead and switch to game number 1 on Thursday. Will be Elon.
What's that? Yes, sir.
Elon.
Okay. Okay.
All right, let me
Okay.
bring this.
All right.
Let me bring you into the screen here for the show. There we go. We're gonna go into Elon versus Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. They had some Hartman transferred out to the transfer portal. He went to Notre Dame. Now they got a new quarterback on the slot for Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons got to replace one of the greats for the Demon Deacons and Sam Hartman. How does the Demon Deacons look to you this year?
Isn't Hartman the starting quarterback for Notre Dame now?
Yep.
Okay. And I like what he did with Wake Forest offensively, but he has little. I got to be careful with my verbiage here. He's an oddity when it comes to preparation on the sideline that I think is very, very unique And if he is able to take his game to the next level, that'd be pretty cool. But back to Wake Forest right now. Those some big shoes to fill. Everybody has tried to wear their daddy's shoes at a young age. You realize your foot real small and your daddy's foot real big. Now, if he goes in that thinking situation, it could be a long year for him. But if he going and takes control of his offense like he's been there this whole offseason, it could be a big day for Wake Forest. I'm going with the Demon Deacons on this one.
You going with the Demon Deacons?
Yeah, I've been to Elon College, though. I've been up there. I partied there before. The Cackalax.
Yeah, in Burlington, outside of Burlington, North Carolina. Yeah.
There it is. Yes, sir.
I'm picking Wake too. I think the ACC is a little bit dominant for just undermanned Elon, the Phoenix crew. I think that's going to be a thing. But I like to see what how they're going to replace Sam Hartman. That's going to be the interesting to watch about this game on Thursday.
One footnote on that. It will come to show, was it Hartman or is it the offensive scheme? That's one thing you can tell a lot about a team that's offensively sound and do really good, but their quarterback transfer either transfers or graduates. We'll be able to tell.
Yeah.
Was it the system or was it the quarterback?
But the thing with Wake Forest is unique is that match point. That match point is so slow. You don't know if he's pulling the ball out, if he's going to pass the ball, if he's going to give the ball to the running back. It just the match slows.
That was the skill set of the quarterback. I mean, that was him. That's why Aaron Rodgers so good at it. It's the skill set of it.
So now, that's going to be a good. I understand that'd be a good question. Is it Clausen or was it Hartman? So that's going to be the question.
See, that's where the bucks come in at.
So
that's where the big bucks come in to me when it comes to coaching. Is it the system? Is it the talent, or is the fact that you learn how to mesh that talent with your system? That's when coaching makes his dollars to me.
All right, we're going to move right along. We're going to go to the Kent State Golden Flash versus the UCF Knights. The Knights are now in the Big 12. They have moved out of the
Big 12.
Yep, they have moved out of the ring-a-dink American Conference. Have now gone to a bigger Power 5 conference.
Gotta get the president on the phone about it.
This is what UCF really wanted to do right here. They really want this thing right here to get into a Power 5 conference and make them big. But Kent State has lost one of the best wide receivers a year ago that gave Georgia a fit in Taz Walker. He's now at the University of North Carolina, but his eligibility is being held up right now. Mm-hmm. How does the Golden Flash stack up to the UCF Knights this season?
I don't think this move is going to be as impactful as when Mizzou moved to the SEC. Footnote, message. UCF should have waited. This was not the move to the Big 12. They should have waited. But I understand they feel like they were dominating. They weren't being challenged. They were listening to the naysayers. Stop listening to the outside noise if nobody's making noise in the building. I like UCF. They have been a good program, complete as a whole, for like the past 10 years to me. Probably more, maybe 10, 12 years. If they don't dominate this game, questions will arise. Questions will arise.
Now, there's two things interesting about this game. Both Kent State lost a wide receiver to North Carolina. Mm-hmm. UCF lost their offensive coordinator to the University of North Carolina from last year.
What they're trying to tell you right there, Ray? What they're trying to tell you?
So, what does this leave Gus Malzahn at UCF? Now he's moved back into a Power 5 conference, not the SEC, but into the Big 12. How does his offensive philosophy going to correlate? Because, he likes that run dash, that run option type plays.
Right.
But now you got the offensive coordinator is now left. He has to take back over the offense because he doesn't trust his offensive coordinator right now that he's got, or he's still teaching him the nuance of his offense. So does that hamper UFC any in this coming out of the gate this year?
There will be some issues and some challenges, and I think there's more to that story why 3 of your top people left to go to the same school. So something must be going on under the undertone, but this will be happening by halftime if there's a close game. Put him on the phone.
Yeah. So
That's
I
gonna
mean,
happen.
I get you. I get that. This is USC's Power Five program now. They're a Power Five school. Can't tell them they're a small school anymore. They're out of that American Conference. Now they moved into the Power Five. This is where they wanted to be.
Right.
This gives the state of Florida another team that's in the Power Five conference, along with
It's
it.
good for recruiting
So,
standpoint. I get it. You recruiting standpoint, I get it. Television, I get it. I get all that why they did it. But does it make sense right now? Time will tell. This program definitely will be tested this entire season, not just this game. Those are key components that left. And that football team can put up some points offensively. The defense has not really shown me that much, but that offense is fun and exciting to watch because they have speed.
yeah, now we have seen some other nuance here too because the offensive coordinator left for USC. They've been putting up high numbers on offense. The over and under in this game is 60.5. USC is favored by 36.5. They predict the final score is going to be 48-13.
I think Kent State gonna put up more than 13 points, but I still see UCF winning this game.
So you're taking UCF?
Yeah. Does it bother you with a head coaching change or offensive coordinator change?
It's we UCF that offensive coordinator been there for a couple of years, so the offense was clicking with them. I mean,
Right.
they were putting up numbers, but then again, you're running Gus Malzahn's offense, so I mean, he's the nuance of that
Right.
catalyst. I mean, it shouldn't suffer that much. It's just the terminology might change because he might put a little bit of different twist on the words. But other than that, I don't see UCF dropping off. But it could also be a new year too, so everything's got to get back clicking again. And
I
now,
think with a head coaching change, that could really be an impactful move. But with an offensive coordinator coming in, that has to comply with the head coach's formula, and then you got to sell the whole team on it. I
yeah,
think that's more of a challenging positional change to me, football wise.
yeah. I mean, if your offense has been clicking all year, all season, last 2 years, and then you make that change. But then again, you got to look at the quarterback situation too for him. Is that going to be
It's like,
is he a veteran quarterback or he's a new quarterback? A new quarterback won't
right,
be affected as much as the old quarterback will because the terminology he's still learning. The new guy's still learning the terminology. The old guy
right,
has the old terminology. He's gonna got to learn the new terminology of
right.
what
You
the
can't even
cadence
spend
and
that
stuff
much
like that.
time together anymore due to college restrictions now. So how does that even come across the table when that happens right there? That verbiage, all that changes because of the rules and restrictions right now on workout and team meetings and all that shit has been challenged. So I wonder how do they do that? They just give this motherfucker like 27 sets of encyclopedia and say, hey, just study it and read it and be ready by spring ball.
I don't know. It's new to me because everything now is online. They don't have a paper playbook anymore. It's all electronic on the Surface, on that Surface tablet.
You would think, but you got some old school coaches out there, man. You seen some of these sports documentaries? It's some old school teachers out of there. But I'm gonna stick with UCF on this game.
Yeah, I mean, it blows my mind how they doing all this stuff. I mean, it's it's crazy. It's just different, you know.
Is what the kids want.
It's totally different. Um, let's move right along here to we're gonna go to game number 10 on the
What's
day.
up
This is
next?
number three. And I gotta transfer you over to that game here. We're playing with the Rhode Island Rams versus the Georgia State Panthers in Atlanta. This is at the old Turner, used to be Turner Field. Now it's the Center Park Stadium. It made it into a football stadium now. Since the Bray has
Mm-hmm.
moved up to the new stadium up near Macon, Georgia.
Oh,
So
Mike, good folk up there now.
so now this team is going to be totally different too because Georgia State has been hit with the transfer portal bug from last year. So this is not a same last year team, but you got some key players back from last year's team. Now all of them didn't transfer. The former Maryland quarterback Keyshawn Hill for Rhode Island is a veteran, but also with a receiver called Summers. has the potential to be big, big problems for Georgia State's pass defense that has a long way to go to be merely decent after a rocky 2022 season. So the Panthers defense for Georgia State still got some good points, and linebacker Evan Stewart is back for one of the best pass rush in the FCS. Georgia State offensive line wasn't great in pass protection and needs to rebuild a group to be solid right away. So what is your take on this Georgia State team right now?
Good friend of mine, Cassie Joe, attended and graduated from Georgia State. Just becoming acclimated to this team by the past 6 years. But what I'm hearing about this team on the gridiron, they got a lot of speed, a lot of football IQ down there, especially at the linebacking core. And I think they got a nice little receiving core as well. I'm gonna really pay a little bit more attention to them. Rhode Island. I mean, who is that they're playing?
They're playing on Rhode Island Rams.
Yeah, Rhode Island. Again, I don't know a clue about Rhode Island on football. Basketball, we can talk. Football, bring me up to speed, coach.
All right, for Rhode Island here, the Rams passing game has enough firepower to be dangerous with the former quarterback in Keesum Hill, who transferred out of Maryland because he was behind. Talk about Leia's brother, up there. He wasn't getting no playing time, so he transferred out, went to Rhode Island. They do have a great wide receiver in Summers, has the potential to be big, big, big problems for Georgia State. So that passing secondary for Georgia State has been awful the last year.
Okay.
It's going to be awful again this year. They still got works to got to get keyed out. The front seven of Georgia State is pretty good. It's that back end that Rhode Island can take advantage with Summers and Keyshawn Hill.
Okay.
So that's the problem you're going to have there. You got one team who can generate pass rush. You got another team who can hit you in the back. If your pass rush doesn't get there, the quarterback can light you up with its Summers. They have nobody that can guard Summers. So how does Rhode Island use their passing attack? Do they go to quick passing attack to offset their pass rush and try to get the one-on-one with Summers and some of the mismatch they have in the secondary?
I feel a lot of play action in this game here. I see a lot of spread coming in this game to utilize that speed, a lot of motion plays too as well. I think this is the year of the slot receiver and the tight end throughout college football. I think this is the year they're going to really, because receiving just showed out last year. But I think this year it's going to be definitely the slot receiver. A lot of motion plays going to be happening this year. And these big, tall tight ends with that old school Tony Gonzalez build and Shannon Sharp speed. Watch. It's all coming back again. So I think speed needs to be taken advantage of in this game. Back to your original question. Speed.
Yeah, the
way to do that is with movement.
Yeah, I look at a little bit of different things too in this aspect is if Summers can get a big play going, him and Hill can go all day long because they won't have nobody to stop him. But now you talk about the slot receiver. If you start getting the double team on Summers, now because Summers can run the inside receiver and the outside receiver.
Right.
So do they move him in the slot and try to force them to double team him with a corner and a safety? Yep. And then next thing you know, you got some mismatches on the other end too.
That next man up is already ready for that Disney Denzel Washington speech. They're ready right now. Whoever's the number one, when the number one is being taken away, number two should be ready and will be ready, game day ready. So that should be the mindset of the number two. This is my day to shine as well. If they take away his game, now it's time for me to shine. And here comes the other play action, or here comes the other playbook that they had in store. It's week 0, but still, it can be an advantageous point for anybody that wants to do that. And I see Georgia State doing that today. Speed and flexibility is the way to do it. Speed and flexibility.
I agree with you. I see that. I see that often in the world of football today, man. I've seen that a lot of leisure and play, but when you got that dual threat wide receiver, some sort of like what Josh Downs did at North Carolina, because they can move him inside outside. That puts a lot of pressure on your defensive coordinator to figure out where he's going to line up, how you're going to double team. Because if you put him in the slot, you got a safety unless you go nickel. Then you can get
Right.
a corner and a safety on them. But then that leaves the running game open because you're taking one of your safety away because you got to sit there and make sure that you're not going to pass the ball to that one dominant wide receiver they got.
Right. That's why that
So
next man up is real important, offensively and defensively.
I mean, the off-brand of Rhode Island football, kind of passing the ball around, but you only got that one wide receiver. You don't know what the other wide receiver core can do for them. You don't know if the offensive line is going to hold up against Georgia State's pressure because they
Exactly.
didn't. Because that front seven knows they got to get the pressure on because the corners and their safety are not that good in pass
See,
coverage.
again, you can't go game speed in practice. So when they're using the stopwatch and the timing, they're just putting it in their head. Look, you need to be to the quarterback in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
3 seconds get to the quarterback. But how can you actually judge that speed if you're not allowed to go full-time game speed? So it's all simulated. So we don't really know how good either side is up front until the first 2 possessions, really,
Right.
which is wild and crazy.
I agree with you on that one.
That's why I like week 4. That way all the kinks out the building. Week 4, everything is out the building. I see
Oh,
within 4 years, the real football schedule in college will come out week 1. They're gonna come out guns blazing.
yeah, I agree
They're gonna
with you on
learn.
that one.
They're gonna learn.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. So we're gonna so I picked Georgia State. Who you taking?
I got Georgia State as well.
All right, we both got Georgia State. We both agreed so far on all the games so far. We're gonna go
No,
here. We're
you
gonna
pick
do.
that UMass game. I thought we had different.
Yeah, that was in the
One
first.
of
That
them
was
games
Thursday's
did.
game. This is all the games for Thursdays.
Okay,
We're going
gotcha.
on right now. This is Thursday's game on August 31st. All right, let's move right along here. Let's go to our next game number 11 on the day. Keep talking about, and this will be the uh, fourth game on Thursday. So, um, this is the. Let me bring you up here so you can see. All right, this is the St. Francis Red Flash versus Western Michigan Broncos. Um, this game is in
You owe
Kalamazoo.
somebody some money.
This game is in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, we're gonna just pick the spreads here, and then we'll pick the game, and then because I want to get to that North Carolina State versus
Okay.
UConn game.
We could just rapid fire this because we got what? We
We
got
got
40 minutes.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna rapid fire after the North Carolina State game. We'll do
Okay.
North. We got Nebraska, South Dakota, and then we'll talk about your Gators, and then Arkansas Pine Bluff, and then we can do speed round all the way down to Georgia Tech and Louisville game. That's a big game on September 1st, Friday's game. So we'll do
Okay.
that here.
Yep.
So who you taking in this one? Western Michigan or St. Francis out of PA?
St. Francis. Man, give me Western Michigan Broncos, man.
We're both taking that one here. So we're gonna move right along here. We're gonna go to the next game here. This is the North Carolina State UConn game. I want to talk about this a little bit because I got some Wolfpack fan friends that say I will not talk about North Carolina State because I'm a Tar Heel fan, but I will because
No kidding.
I
No
am
kidding.
putting my bias professional as an analyst here. So my stuff on personal life is out of the way. So we're going to talk about this right here. This game is in East Hartford, Connecticut, at Pride Stadium at 7:30. This will be on CBS Sports Network. So North Carolina State did not get the ESPN game or the ACC network. They get the CBS Sports Network on this game. NC State last year was 8-5. University UConn is 6-7, but North Carolina State's starting quarterback last year, O'Leary, has transferred to Kentucky, but they went out and got Brandon Armstrong from the University of Virginia, who's moving out of Virginia into North Carolina State in the ACC. Still familiar foes. Now the things can pressure here by North Carolina State, but the offense is averaging about 300 yards a game. They lost some receivers and they got some back. What do you see the North Carolina State Wolfpack and standing at right now in the new revamped ACC without the divisions? So
Sometimes I love the old college football just for the memories itself. And sometimes you wish those schools or those programs could understand how important that team of that season was. Like, for instance, the Philip River years at NC State. Oh, my goodness, right there. Man, what a team, what a squad. If NC State could somehow look at that footage of that defense, if they can recapture that and use that as their rock or their sign, I guarantee you that program could go a whole lot further than what they think. UConn is just fun to watch do the Molly on ESPN, how the fact she think they're going to win every game. And the fact, again, we got another basketball school with a football program. How does this keep happening? How does this keep
I mean, North Carolina State back in the '80s, they were a basketball school. I think they transitioned more into a football type school than they are a basketball school because
Good call.
they haven't won a championship in 40 years in basketball. So,
But it happened. It happened.
but I look at it this way too: what Brandon Armstrong brings to North Carolina State is a little bit more of a passing dynamic than what Larry had with North Carolina State. In contrast, but Larry had some weapons on this thing. You got to understand, he had a running back, he had a running by committee. North Carolina State now has to refurbish their running back program. They talk about UConn's defense front has enough in place to hold up against the refurbished North Carolina State ground game. So if they make North Carolina State one dimensional and they can get some more pass rush and keep that one dimensional, then that play action pass is not going to work for North Carolina State. That give them some more production yardage. But they got to figure out some wide receivers here that they got to replace. How do they replace some of these wide receivers that they missed? I mean, I know you say the next man up, but the next man up is not really having proved themselves. But again, North Carolina State still got enough talent to overmatch UConn. So, what do you see what UConn's offense and their defense could do to North Carolina State to keep them at bay here?
I would try to make the job as simple as possible. I don't want to get out of text here, but I would go back to the old baseball method for Moneyball. He wasn't trying to replace the player. He was just trying to get those numbers. So you break it down to its purest forms, just try to replace those numbers. If the guy had 37 catches, I know I can get 42 out of you. Or between these two guys, is all we're trying to do out of the receiving position is get 42 catches, this amount of touchdowns? Or are we just trying to get tugs? What is the goal with the receiving corps? What is the goal with the offensive coordinator? Just to get W's or just get W's with our receivers? Exposing the quarterback, we're going on a Heisman run. I mean, what we doing here, coach? Let us know. Because there's a philosophy when it comes to the approach to the season. You're trying to push something, some agenda, some goal, some position. You're trying to do that, whether we recognize it or not. We always hear the story when somebody wins a specific award in college football. We get the highlights, we get the recording. So with this here, if NC State stays on key and on point, I wouldn't worry about the bigger issue of what we lost. Let's utilize what we have. Receiver by committee, running back committee. We hear it all the time. Use it.
Yeah, I look at a little bit of different things here for what we're talking
I mean,
about.
you're a Carolina fan. Of course you will. Go ahead. Let me hear you.
But I'm a biased person. I'm not using my North Carolina affiliation here on North Carolina State. I don't do that.
Know your accent, but go ahead.
'Cause I'm very professional about this. But
Mhm.
one thing that really concerned me was last year when I looked at this North Carolina State team. It's that East Carolina game where they had to pull everything out of the bag to just barely beat East Carolina 21-20 last year. This could be the same type of early on for North Carolina State. Have to win, come back and win some of these games by pulling stuff out of the bag that they normally don't have to do because they're not meshing. And with the point that I'm getting at here is Brandon Armstrong comes in. He's throwing to a whole new crew of wide receivers that he'd never thrown before in his whole entire career. So now they got to get used to him throwing. And I think Brandon Armstrong is a lefty. So now they got to get a different rotation on the football to learn how to catch a lefty than what they did with O'Leary last year. So that even puts a little bit more pressure. And then Tim Beckler's gone to Conway, South Carolina, take over Coastal Carolina's team that because his head coach went to Liberty. So I mean, that's you got to understand they got some new coaches on the staff, got new players, and you got a new quarterback. And now, how do they match? And you don't have that much time. And like, would you say with this NIL deal, you only had spring practice, you had a little bit of fall practice. So I mean, you can't get nowhere unless they worked on their own. But then, how many times have you seen college players take it on their initiative on their own to go out there and do that?
The whole camaraderie has changed in college football from coach to player and player to player. That has changed due to the rules and restrictions on getting to know your teammate and your coaches. I get all of that. But now, I guess through innovation and technology, they have FaceTime, they have social media platforms, they have chat rooms and Zoom, whatever it may be. That could be an advantage they're taking up that they're using. But again, as I said on that couple of teams ago, we were talking about a head coach change versus a position coach change. That's a whole different narrative to me. That is a whole different thing to sell and to accept and to utilize for us, the players and the whole coaching staff. Now, if it's coming from someone that's been in the college trenches with a hell of a resume, okay, I can feel that. He's a born pedigree winner. He's dealt with some difficult players, situations, and prevailed. Versus somebody anybody's ever heard of, that could be challenging.
Right. So to me, I think North Carolina State still has the talent to beat UConn. I don't think UConn is where they need to be right now. I think they still got some issues they're dealing with. Not yet. The over and under is 47.5. NC State's favored by 15 going into Hartford, Connecticut. I don't think UConn's not a tough place to play. The crowd is not very loud not big. So I think North Carolina State will go up there. They predict North Carolina State is going to score 34 points, UConn 13. I'm taking North Carolina State on this because I just don't think UConn's got enough talent to keep up with NC State.
Give me the Wolfpack as well. Wolfpack. Give me Raleigh, North Carolina. Don't get both. I think Junior Udis's boy goes there. I think he plays left tackle or something like that. Henrietta, where that boy go to school at now?
All right, I get that.
I love this Southern accent. I swear I do.
All right, let's move right along here. Put you in this one here so you can make your pick. Oh, that's a Florida. We're going to talk about Florida real quick here, then we'll back up. I put Florida down here for a quick. All right, so this is your team. Y'all decked out in your Gators, got your red phone. Is your phone going straight to the head coach? Or is it going straight to the AD to fire the head coach?
This phone has the ability to call everybody.
All I
got to do is push the button.
It looked like the bat phone.
I pull out the red phone. There's going to be issues this year. This is
worse
than the referee making a bad call.
So we know this game is going to be played up in Utah, Salt Lake City. We know what happened down in the year they played down in Gainesville. Your Gators came out on top. Last year's record 6-7 for Florida, 10-4 for Utah. What is the outlook on the Florida Gators this season? What's your expectation on your Gators this season?
My expectations is us to win the SEC. That's my expectation. But realism sets in. Realism really sets in. And give me at least 500 this year. Show me an effort on all levels of football. Show me the hype in his coach. Make me believe in his offense. We had some issues in the quarterback position in the offseason. NIL deal situations didn't go through. Parents and kids read before signing, understand the verbiage. It's the best way I can tell you. But I just want to see, in the words of Gene Hackman in the movie The Replacements, heart. I want you to look at the logo, the location, the women on campus, and understand who you're playing for and what you're playing for. Then go out there and attack that field. That's all I want. This is not the docu-series. No, this is right now Gator football. And based on the past couple of years, I'm not happy. This has to stop. This is the season.
Well,
and it starts with this game next week.
well, if you look at this game here that's going to be played, there's two key issues here. One for Utah is the starting quarterback Cam Rising. He still suffered the knee injury at the Rose Bowl. He's still not back. They don't know if he's going to play. They don't know if he's healthy enough to play. They don't even know they have a starting quarterback right now.
Not our problem, Coach.
But also on your end, your top backup quarterback and Brandon Ross was injured in preseason practice, and he's still up in the air because he was going to win the. According to the coach, he won the race to be the starting quarterback. But now he got hurt in preseason practice, and he's still up in the air. So I mean,
how did he get hurt?
I don't know. It didn't say. Florida might not be explosive as the fan base is hoping, but for as long as it's beating Utah at its own game by controlling the clock, running well, and owning the field position battle, it will be in this. However, if you look at the other end, we don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback for Utah. So you don't get if you don't get Cam Rising, so you got a total person that you're not prepared for. So, sometimes that one quarterback, one game can live up to the hype. Look at what happened to Clemson when they played Notre Dame when Trevor Lawrence was out. And then next thing you know, he turns into moving on to Oregon State, wasn't the answer. So
Okay.
if you look at that situation here is what does Cal Whittingham have to do? Because the Gators defense is going to be strong. They always have a strong defense. And they're always been fast because people come out of Florida are fast people. Mm-hmm. That's why they come down here and recruit these guys from Florida.
Yes.
But they don't have Anthony Richardson no more to worry about his finesse play. What do you do at quarterback for the Gators? What do Gators got to look at the quarterback position? Is they got to upgrade from Richardson and where they can throw the ball more? Or did they get a downgrade?
That's the thing I'm worried about with our new coach this year. What does he want to do with the quarterbacking position? We want a pocket. We want a Swiss Army knife. We want a dual threat. We want the quarterback to bring his IQ into play. We want the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach working together. I'm at odds. I tried to get on a few meetings this year and a few Zooms, but I was not allowed in. But I'm getting in on the ones once the season starts. But we can't replicate players of past. I know as bad as people want to, everybody always has that conversation. But they got to understand the areas of opportunity and utilizing your skill set and putting it true to form. If you're left-handed, I can't make you be a right-hander in the middle of the game. It doesn't work that way. And when players and coaches realize that, it makes for a better outcome of the game. Sure. And that's all I want Florida to do. Show me heart and effort. The defense is going to speak for itself. You already said that. I don't think Utah can come out with anything sexy at all that's going to scare us or spook us or have us arguing on the sideline among coaches on what the hell is going on. No, I don't see that. The defense will speak before the offense when it comes to my Gators.
Now, what does the Gator have to do to go up into Rice-Eccles Stadium, which is loud? The fans are sitting on top of you. You're in high altitude in Utah. Again, it could affect the Florida team because you're in Florida. You're at sea level, and you're going above sea level. So that sometimes gives you the fatigue that you're not looking for in that third and fourth quarter coming around. How do they have to battle that fatigue in that air and in the area where the fans are on top? How do they control not getting all these false starts? Do they go to a silent count? Do they go to telling your offensive lineman to watch the ball how spikes it, you move. How do they counteract the mentality of not getting all these penalties that hurt them in the past?
I can't believe you really brought up that Russell Wilson crap about the air quality. That's why it affected his gameplay with the Broncos last year. That's another story, Dre. Let it go. I do not believe the altitude is going to affect my Gators on defense or offensively. My thing is with the Gators, if we win the coin flip, I'm putting the defense on the field first. Knock them in the mouth, early turnover, pick six, or scoop and score. Shut them up quick. By the time the offense gets on the field, we're up probably 21-3. Really gets on the field. Boom. That's it. That's what I think Florida needs to do. I don't want him to try to come out here and try to prove his offense works. Just because you married my mom at 12 years old don't mean my daddy was a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't come in with all that crap, man. Don't try to prove to me you're the best person on the planet the first game. Come on now. Just go out here and play Gator football. I will be a much happier person.
True.
That's all it is. Play Gator football.
And if I look at certain key elements of that too, Kyle Whittingham is known to play mind games on teams before.
Mm-hmm.
You think he's playing a mind game saying that Cam Reason is not ready to play, but he could be ready to play, and then trying to offset the Gator not trying to key on him? Or is he really that truly hurt and he can't start the season off?
Last report I checked on Tuesday, he's not 100%. So I'm going with that story right there. I know we like to play mind games with the media when it comes to the injuries of our athletes. But I'm thinking he's not 100%. But the backup plan is, hey, we have speed, let's utilize it. We're very deep at the running back position and the receiving core. We're very deep. We got a dual threat receiver tight end on there as well. So we can utilize all of that. And we never just come to a gunfight with 5 guns and 8 knives. So quarterback, and we're cool there. I just don't want the coach to overthink the process. If it's say bake damn bread for 12 minutes, bake the bread for 12 minutes. That's all I'm saying.
Now, the Utah is favored by 7. The over and under in this game is 46.5. Utah 30. Utah 30 and Florida 24. That's the game. There's a 6-point difference there. So now my question is:
They got him favored. They got him favored.
Is that red phone going to help you pick this game? Or are you going
to listen? I'm going with my Gators. Or Gators, as they're called down there in the FLA.
Well, this is the first game that we're off here. I'm picking Utah to win.
You got the Utes, huh? You got a Ute.
I got the Utes winning this one. So we got 2 games now. We're different here on the start of the season. So, all right, my friend, let's move on to the next game here. And what is the next game? The next game is Nebraska, Minnesota. Who you got in this ball game? This is Rule's first season at Nebraska. What does the offense stand for Nebraska right now? Is it a Holt, or is he going to be the coach like he was at Carolina, or is he going to be the coach that he was at Baylor?
If I was Nebraska, I would strip that whole locker room and just go red and white. I'd take the Cornhusker down. I'd take the black shirts down. I'd take all. You got to earn that back. Make them earn it. It's an embarrassment to football the way that program has played the past few years. And they've had the talent. They have had the talent. When you have that much talent, it's usually who? The coach. So now we done made all these changes now. Now let's see what the Cornhuskers going to do.
Well, this is going to be
the same way.
This is the key I want to see. The key I want to see is Nebraska got the transfer out of Georgia Tech and quarterback Jeff Sims.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Sims is out of Jacksonville, Florida, out of Sandalwood.
Uh-oh.
Sandalwood did not pass the ball one time when he was a quarterback here in Jacksonville.
I wonder why.
I was at the game when Sandalwood played First Coast. Jeff Sims was the quarterback. They ran student body left. They ran student body right. They ran student body up the middle. And no passing. They had 370. They had 375 yards rushing, 2 yards passing in that ball game. Jeff Sims is a running quarterback, straight out.
Huh.
He went to Georgia Tech because of the option. Then they changed over. He did not convert over well with the quarterback situation. Now he's transferred. Now he's transferred to Nebraska, which now Matt Rule he likes to throw the ball.
Doesn't make sense. They up to something. They up to something. We got to
So
watch this relationship here. I
now
mean,
that
Nebraska was an option type school at some point. Then they
yeah,
started throwing the ball.
but Matt Rule is a more of a not a read option type kind of guy, but a
That
more
would
like.
work. Okay.
But the thing is, they labeled him. This is what they labeled him. This is what they labeled Jeff Sims in their program. He's a dangerous all-around playmaker. If you're going to be an all-around playmaker, you got to be able to pass the football.
True.
And when I've seen him do at Georgia Tech, he wasn't very effective passing. He was effective running the option very well, quarterback, because he could run the option. But then you make him a passer, Minnesota could jump all over it. And Minnesota's got some good corners. So
they didn't have speed. What's the coach name at Minnesota?
Fleck. He was at I think he was at Central Michigan.
Yeah, I like his approach. He kind of reminds me of Sean McVay.
So do we see the elements here of Minnesota could go in and win at home because they're playing in Minnesota at the Huntington Bank outdoor stadium, but it's during the summer, so it's not going to be too cold. But Matt Rule usually first year does okay. It's the second year that he turns the program around.
Okay.
So we're looking at the Cornhuskers probably what? Possibility taking this game, probably not taking it, but not really going to be competitive this season until the latter part of the season is when he's probably going to figure out that Jeff Sims is not the quarterback that he is going to be and have to make a change.
What year is Jeff Sims in?
This is he did two years at Georgia Tech. Possibly he's got 2 more. Nah, he was the starting quarterback straight up day one.
Yeah.
So it's probably his third, could be possibly his senior year. So
I see Minnesota really taking advantages because that's a new facility they have as well, isn't it? Fairly new. Did they do something in Minnesota? Build them something?
yeah, it's I don't know. Minnesota. This is the guy. They got the receiver that is Chris Autumn-Bell. He's back from his leg injury. They got a Western Michigan transfer running back in Sean Taylor. He's a stat star. They finished 8th in nation in total defense, 4th in scoring defense.
Whoa.
Will be even better if the pass rush can do a better job. So if you look at this, Nebraska has a ton of work to do. This isn't going to be fixed overnight. The help of the Huskers defense line needs to be great, fast. Offensive line should be a few weeks up to speed. So they're not even up to speed yet.
Nope. It's a 2-year wait.
Yeah.
From that rule. 2 years. I give it 2 years, but I got Minnesota winning this game.
That's what I got because Matt Rule usually the first year he suffers. The second year is a turnaround year. He's a little bit better than he was the previous year. He's always won the second year where he was at, besides at the Carolina Panthers. But NFL is a different story here.
Shots fired.
Yep, I shot the fire. Yep, I shot it. All right, man. While we're going to go here, we're going to go to, let me bring this one in here for you so you can see. We got South Dakota Coyotes versus Missouri Tigers.
M-I-Z, Z-O-U. M-I-Z, Z-O-U.
Who was your Missouri favorite player was last year?
I don't have one.
The one you always mention, the name you always mention.
It's about Drew Lock.
No.
That was a few years ago.
No, the running back they had. The one you kept always saying, I forgot his name.
From Mizzou?
Yeah,
Me mention a Mizzou player?
yeah, yeah. You mentioned him every time we talk about Missouri. I can't think of his freaking.
Oh, oh,
I can't think of his freaking
he's
name
got
though.
the chips named after him. Oh man. Oh, number 3.
Yeah, I can't think of it,
What's his
but
name?
he's not there.
Ah,
He's not there no more. But I mean, he last year was his
what's
last
that
year.
kid name? But yeah, he was that deal. He was that deal.
Yeah.
I get knocked on a lot here in my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri,
All right, you
because
got
I don't.
Bra-
I'm not a Mizzou fan.
All right, you got Brady Cook is likely the main guy, but the Miami transfer Jake Garcia is great looking redshirt freshman. Sam Horn are right there with the goal to roll the through this, and then Middle Tennessee that's more dangerous than it might seem before dealing with Kansas State under new offensive coordinator Kirby Moore. The attack should
Yep.
work no matter who's under center. South Dakota should have a bit of a pass rush, but the offense that couldn't do anything last year won't be much help. so,
From what I understand from my sources, Mizzou has a pretty good football team this year. From what I've been told by several people who've attended Mizzou and graduated, a shout out to the counselor and Maggie. They have given me the MIZZOU inside edition of what this football team looks like this year. So I'm sticking to that. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to Mizzou this year. I'm going to watch, probably not today, probably watch today's game because, I better catch it today. Yeah.
This is Thursday. This is Thursday.
Oh, this week coming up. Yeah, I'll check it out. I better see it.
All right, we got to move right along. We got some time constraint. Huh? I got Missouri.
Okay. Missouri.
Yeah.
Missouri.
So let's move right along here. We're going to rapid fire these two here.
Let's go.
Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions versus Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. Who you got?
My cousin went to University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Whoop, whoop. Give me them.
You taking them?
Yep.
I'm taking Tulsa. All righty, let's move right along here. And North Carolina AT&T Aggies and UAB Blazers. Who you got?
Ooh. Give me North Carolina.
You taking the Aggies?
Yeah.
You don't believe in Trent Dilfer?
No, not yet. I like the way he yells at his kids when they're playing for him.
I'm gonna take UAB on this one. So
okay. Welcome back, Trent Dilfer.
All righty. This is the last game on for the Thursday night game. And this is the one right here is Southern Utah Thunderbirds against Arizona State Sun Devils. And the new offensive coordinator from Oregon last year is now the new head coach of Arizona State. What do you see Dillingham doing for Arizona State this year?
I'm still mad at Arizona State for what they did to Kurt Edwards, that is, firing that man in the middle of the damn field. So they have to prove to me why they did that and show me this new talent they brought in through the transfer portal. Show me this new coaching system. Show me your boy genius. Other than that, I'm not rolling with them. I'm going to take a school, Southern Utah Thunderbirds. Give me them.
You getting the Thunderbirds?
Yes. I'm still mad at Arizona State. Still mad. They got a lot of explaining to do.
Well, Arizona State's got to have they might have the true freshman might end up starting pretty quickly if the Notre Dame transfer Drew Pine doesn't work out. That's a thing that we see on the uprise right here. He might end up because it says ASU might get star freshman Jaden Rasha involved sooner than later if Notre Dame